Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Oregon Fan Show, the podcast where we talk with Duck fans and college football experts about the things that make us want to shout. Our guest this morning is Andrew Bauhs. Is that the correct pronunciation?
Rhymes with house. So Andrew
Ba-
Bauhs.
Andrew Bauhs.
Yep.
Okay. Um, there's a children's book about the man who let the inside out. I used to read to my son, and it had his name rhymes with house. Anyway,
Okay.
Andrew is the director of the college football tour, and our very special guest, Andrew. Good morning.
Good morning. So glad to be here. Nice and early morning. It's the way I like to do it.
It's 0500. What's the O stand for? Oh my God, it's the Ducks. Yes, sir. Well, our crack research team, led by associate producer Choya the Wonder Dog, has sniffed out some details about you that people should know. Andrew Bauhs, follow Andrew Bauhs as he experiences game day at every school in the top 138. He's a graduate of Wisconsin who started this quest, this epic quest that's a dream of so many college football fans in 2004. Are we correct so far?
You are on it.
Toy the Wonder Dog is undefeated when it comes to detecting squirrels and interesting college football guests. Okay, Andrew, you are a writer for Wake Forest on SI, and that underwrites to a small extent what you were doing. Is that right?
That's correct. And we can definitely get into why it's Wake Forest and SI and all that. But yes, it's an outlet that I have amongst many.
What a great idea. Why Wake Forest? Why SI?
Well, that came about because as I tour the country, I am often I get connected with lots of different fans. I especially get connected with tailgates. And so when I'm on the road and I get to these tailgates and I'm engaging with fans, everyone's interested in my story and where I'm going. I was down at TCU and I met a guy who's now a really good friend of mine who was looking for writers for TCU on SI. And I said, hi, I'm here. And he was interested in my story and can we take some of the stuff you've already been writing? Because I buy a lot of writing on my website. Is there anything that we can take for that and put it onto SI? I said, sure, let's work it out. And since then, he's moved on to Wake Forest. So I've been kind of just following him. But it's been a great outlet to get my stuff out there a little bit more. And look for some interesting Wake Forest slanted articles this fall.
Oh, awesome. I am looking forward to that. What's the outlook for the Demon Deacons? Are they going to be a bowl team?
You like to think that every team has that shot. I think that they can be, absolutely. We'll see as the season goes along, but I think we're looking at above 500. And what I do, just to clarify, I definitely have some knowledge about the teams that I'm involved with, but I do so much more when it comes to traditions and pageantry and the game day experience. So when I'm on the field or I'm in the press box, I'm one of the few people not pointing my camera towards the field. I'm usually pointing it towards the band, the mascot, the fans, the cheerleaders. That's kind of my gig. So I'm not going to be able to go depth roster-wise with you, but I can go depth tradition-wise with you and give you the feels on that side.
Well, that's fabulous because to me, those are some of the most interesting parts of the game. Tradition, history, pageantry. And I hope college football doesn't destroy those with all this chasing of the almighty dollar. How did Wake Forest become a team that you really zeroed in on?
Well, it's really just because I got brought there. I mean, honestly, it's pretty new to me. I was more zeroed in on TCU when I was brought in as a writer for that, and so we got the shift over to Wake Forest, and I'm just kind of getting my feet, wet with it. So honestly, it's just kind of happenstance that I'm there, and I'm going to start building my foundation there as we go along.
Well, what's your day job? by the way?
I am a fifth grade teacher. I am 25 years into that job, and I love it. It absolutely keeps me on my toes. I feel like it keeps me young, ish. And I will tell you that there's nothing more daunting when both the onset of the college football season and the onset of starting up a classroom converge. And it always happens in late August, and it's always chaotic, and my brain doesn't know where to go. But it all sorts out, and it's an absolute whew, cacophony of noise, but it's fun. It's fun, and it like I said, keeps me on my toes for sure.
What's the best part about teaching fifth grade in particular?
They're the perfect personality. Fifth graders are 10 and 11. They still have a passion for the classroom and learning. They have so much curiosity, yet they still also have some modicum of respect for authority and and things like that. So I find like around April and May, they start to lose that respect a little bit. But by then, I'm like, see, it's June, bring in a new batch, you know. But I love them, and they're so funny. They're so funny. They're just developing their personalities, and it's so fun to see the little light bulbs go on about who they are and the jokes that they crack and the ones that flop and the ones that hit. And it's I mean, I could write tons of books on that. I mean, I can't keep up with it all.
It's amazing that I'm meeting you this week, because this fall, in a few short days, I'm about to become the world's oldest living substitute teacher in Clackamas County. And so that's a new experience for me, a new gig.
How'd you get that gig?
Well, in the state of Oregon, there's a shortage of substitutes. And by passing a background check and going through fingerprinting and doing an interview and having a bachelor's degree, you can work with a special kind of teaching license as a classroom teacher. You get mostly 1 and 2 day assignments where your job is to keep the thing rolling, try to follow the lesson plan, and invite the students to learn without getting too worked up about the fact that it's a temporary situation and they will test you. But I'm only beginning to discover some of the incredible lessons and joys that you have experienced in that area. And so, one of these days I'm going to have to buy you a meal and just pick your brain for a while so I can survive this deal.
You don't have to buy me a meal. I like to pay it forward, so it's all good. I'll take a beer, but no, I definitely, I'm happy to talk about the ins and outs. And it's not just Oregon. There's substitute shortage everywhere. I mean, even at our school, we struggle to fill the gaps. So oftentimes, I have to be asked to sub on periods that I'm off. So it's not uncommon.
Well, thank you for your service to the young people of Chicago, and for this incredible journey you're on, and sharing all of it with you. How far are you into it? How far along is the quest?
It's you're always going to get a big, long sigh from me when you ask that question, because it feels just like I can't believe I'm almost at the end. So there's 138 FBS teams. I'm at 125. When I started this whole thing in 2004, there were 117. So they keep extending my finish line, and it's fine. But it's just like, oh my gosh. And when North Dakota State and Sacramento State joined this year, another big deep breath. And I was like, okay, all right, we can do this. So we put them on our schedule this year, and looking forward to that.
So Sacramento State and North Dakota State, those are two of the destinations for this year.
They are. Yeah, we said, you know what? If you're going to join, we're going to be there, because I'm getting so close to the end here that I'm going to have to get them in eventually anyway. So we're we're opening the season with North Dakota State this Saturday.
A great atmosphere. That will be incredibly fun.
Yeah, absolutely. We're looking forward to it.
Where else are you going this year?
I mean, okay, so North Dakota State opens us off. We're doing a triple header in Atlanta. We're doing Kennesaw State, Georgia State, and Jacksonville State all in one sweep. That's the way, by the way, to get this done, because you have to build it in. If you see a double header, when we went out to Oregon and saw the Ducks a couple years ago, we did the Ducks on a Friday night, and then we did the Beavers on Saturday. And so we focus all of our attention on those teams on those days. But there's no other way to do this, especially on a teacher's salary, mind you, than to get the biggest bang out of your buck for a flight. So there's a little detour there. We're also hitting Missouri State. Washington State will be up there. We're going to be East Carolina, Sacramento State, mentioned that one, Louisiana, Boise State, and Texas Tech. Those are the new ones this year, along with my usual haunts that I visit, Wisconsin and Northwestern. I hit there every year.
You're a Badger.
Yes.
Are you a Wisconsin fan, or is your college football fandom become global?
Let's see. How do I answer that question? Yeah, I am. I'm diehard Wisconsin fan. That's how it all started, actually, this whole tour. And Wisconsin is really one of the top 10. After I've been everywhere, still the whole Wisconsin experience is one of the best you'll find in college football. And yeah, is there some bias to that? Heck yeah. But is there truth in that? Yeah. I can truly compare it to everywhere now, nearly everywhere. And it's one of the best. So yeah, hardcore fan, Wisconsin. Was there during the Dane years, the Heisman years. That's when I went to school there, 97 to 01. I remember clearly, by the way, the Oregon Ducks coming into Camp Randall in 2000. I was a senior, and I was fascinated with the Ducks coming in and seeing the duck and seeing the fans come with their duck beaks in their mouth, and loved it. And it was things like that actually made me want to explore more. It's like, I want to go to Oregon now, like that kind of thing. I want to see what it's like there. So yeah, no, I Wisconsin kicked it off, not only because of their atmosphere, but because of the teams that came in and seeing their fans and meeting them.
Well, Duck fans got to experience the Badgers twice in their first couple of years in the Big Ten. We've had two really tough, exciting games with Wisconsin. They were both grinded out kind of games.
Yes. Yes. And when the Badgers were not good, which was shocking. So in both cases, I was at the one a couple years ago where it was a 16-13 loss for the Badgers. I should say win for the Ducks. Sorry.
That's all right. You.
But no, but we were pleasantly surprised and thought, okay, maybe this team will turn it around. And then last year, offense was anemic for the Badgers, but they definitely slowed the Ducks down, and that was good to see. There was hope there, but yeah, no. And then of course, there's no discussion of the 2012 Rose Bowl. We're putting that off the table. I'm still angry about that one.
I thought that was a great game. What do you mean?
What are you talking about? Yeah, no, I mean, that was just a heartbreaker. And not to mention the 2000 one. Y'all got to stop. Well, 2020. You got to stop with this.
It's funny how teams and the stars align sometimes. There are certain teams that your squad always seems to play great against and win. And there are other teams that just give you fits.
I know.
Why does that happen?
There's a kryptonite. Like Purdue was Ohio State's kryptonite for quite some time. And every time Ohio State played at Purdue, everyone was clenching their fists and their everything, because they who knew. There's always that team. It's annoying. And you just know it's going to happen. But Wisconsin and Oregon have had some good runs together. It's been fun, and then that they had a little history prior to the Ducks joining the Big Ten was fun.
Yeah, you guys were like an old friend. I mean, we played again in the 2020 Rose Bowl.
Right.
Justin Herbert had a great game and saved the day for Oregon. But things you're deeply steeped in the history of college football and the traditions. Things turn around, they come around. Every team has its era, its glory years. I mean, the Badgers had all those years with Barry Alvarez and the great running attack,
Yep.
Monty Ball, and just a whole series of them.
Sure.
And then they've had some lean, tough, nasty years, and the Ducks have had both too.
Yeah. No, without question. And it's cyclical. It really is. Unless you're Ohio State for some reason, can someone please stop them? Please, they need to be humbled a little. I mean, God bless them for bringing so much to the sport, but my goodness. But yeah, no, Wisconsin. Maybe I don't know. Maybe it's good that they're having a couple of rough years. A lot of people don't give them a lot of credit for this upcoming season, but I think they're going to be a lot better. They have a much easier schedule and a lot more giddy up in their step. I think just mentally. So we'll see how it goes.
Do you still believe in Luke Vical?
I'm think everybody else. I'm excited to give him one more year, and I'm seeing the passion in his eyes this season. He's really trying to sell a change. He's admitting fault for straying from Wisconsin's foundation of running the ball and offensive line U, and so I think he's going to find a blend this year, but he's got it tough. Season tickets went down. I'm getting articles in my feed like that crazy. Everything. It's so uncharacteristic for the Badgers. And so I think he's got a year, and I don't know. What's the floor for him? Maybe, I don't know. He's got to get to a bowl, but I feel like 8-4 is a good possibility. If he gets there, I think he'll be fine.
Well, we'll hope for the best.
Yeah. We opened with Notre Dame, so ugh.
Okay, you've been doing this now since 2004, 22 years.
Yeah.
That's a lot of teams, a lot of travel, a lot of stadiums, a lot of wonderful tailgates, and great people, no doubt. And I can tell you're a people person.
Yeah.
What were a couple of the best experiences?
When it comes to experiences, I have to think about traditions so much. But I'll tell you, tailgate wise and just people wise, we've been to some places that just roll out the red carpet like you wouldn't believe, and I'm always a little bit floored by that. I think people are so excited to have someone come in and showcase the best of a university. Yeah. So, I mean, every tailgate I've gone to has had something special to walk away from. When you talk about best experiences, I like to think about the traditions that kind of stuck with me. So I think about some of the loud ones, like Texas A&M's midnight yell practice, which is one of the best you'll ever find. And of course, Wisconsin's jump around, and Virginia Tech's Enter Sandman, and South Carolina's Sandstorm, Oregon Shout, that should be up there. It doesn't get enough credit. But then you have the solemn ones, like, fans need to take time, if they can, to hang out in a stadium a little bit after it empties, if they let you. There's something special about a quiet stadium, especially after a game is done. And I get a lot of field access now, and I'm usually there a little longer after a stadium's emptied. And if you can get an opportunity to just sit for a minute. I remember after the 2000 Rose Bowl, Wisconsin beat Stanford. I was there, and I just sat at the 50-yard line. The place was empty. Couple of workers cleaning things up. I just sat there and looked around. My friends were like, "Let's go," but I'm like, "Yeah, can I have my moments?" They waited for me outside. But that kind of thing. And when I think about that, I think about places like Illinois. Illinois has these beautiful columns outside their stadium, 200 of them, and they represent fallen Illini in World War I. There's names engraved on each one. And one of my favorite things to do when I go to Illinois is after the game, nobody goes up there. I don't understand. Walk up there. There's just a path of columns you can walk through. Just take a moment in the quiet and walk through that and think about the history of this old stadium and why they're there. Live traditions like at Army, the cadet review in the morning before a game. The soldiers, the cadets come out and march on the plane, and it's everyone gathers, but it's quiet and it's solemn and it's lovely. Um, you have quirky traditions like the one at Purdue. They have the breakfast club. Get up early in the morning. The bars are all open at 8 a.m. It's dressed in Halloween costumes and bar crawl on game day. These are things that are just so special about the sport. These are the experiences. You ask me what are the best experiences. I can't narrow it down. And I everywhere I go, I meet such fantastic people who are so anxious and eager to show me around. And it's hard to the blessing is it's hard to pick which people I have to go with. But that's just a lovely part of the journey. We're meeting people Friday night in Fargo, um, ready to go, get back on it again, and the experiences reboot.
Oh man, and that wide open country. I haven't seen a lot of the country, but for movies and everything, North Dakota is just an awe-inspiring sight.
I know I will be in Fargo, so it'll be a little more city, but
Yeah,
I know we'll get the culture and the feel of the town, and we try to do that everywhere we go as best we can. What I'm My partner joins me along on all of this, so I really try hard to take my time everywhere I go. I don't want to blow in and blow out. There's some places that I have to go a little faster than others, but I try to experience everything. I try to get there 3 or 4 hours ahead of time. Get involved in a tailgate. Try to get to a bar. Try to get to something like that, a restaurant that's famous in town, and try to hang out a little bit afterwards, just to breathe it in. And it helps me when I eventually settle down and write, because you can go and research stuff online. I could write articles without going anywhere. I could research anything online, but I want to make sure that I'm holding it there a little bit so I can experience it and bring to you some of that quiet tradition and history that is not written about.
I utterly love that. Are you you're writing for SI? Are you doing a podcast or writing a book or anything like that? You mentioned a book.
I've flirted with some podcasts. I prefer to be a guest on a podcast than to run one. So anytime you want, Dale, I'm here. Um, I The book though, I have actually started a couple chapters. And I did it. It was kind of memoir style, and I did it. Started maybe about 10 years ago, maybe 15 years ago, and then I stopped. So I'm like, I'm not old enough for this. I gotta get older. I gotta experience a little more, because I kind of hit a wall, and I'm like, yeah. And so I set it aside, and I'm starting to flip through the pages again. So I do have some stories that I want to share about growing up in a sports oriented family in Wisconsin, and finding my way into this tour.
So that book will have resonance. It will be a tapestry. It will have texture. It will have your life experience, the people you know, the people you love, the places you've been. I can't wait to read it.
I hope it's something that everyone can relate to. I don't want it to be about me.
Yeah.
Although I am fascinating. No, but I no, but seriously, I want it to be something that is relatable. I don't want somebody to feel that they have to be a Badger fan to pick it up. I want it to be something that is just through the eye of a Badger and seeing it from a different place. And yeah, and I'm a Chicagoan. I mean, I grew up in Wisconsin, but I'm 45 minutes from Wisconsin where I grew up. So it's this Chicago feels like home.
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, tell us, please, a little bit about your experience in Oregon. What game you saw, what it was like, what your impressions were, where
Yeah.
you
Okay.
ate.
Yeah. Okay. So when we got into Eugene, we got in it was a Friday night game against Michigan State 2 years ago. And I was granted field access, which gave me a lot of wonderful opportunities to capture some video. Video is my number one medium. I want to really bring people and walk through what it feels like to be at a game, make you excited to want to go. If you've always wanted to do what I do, at the very least, walk through my footsteps a little bit. So I'll show you the band, I'll show you the mascot, I'll show you the cheerleaders, I'll show you all that. Because guess what? You can flip on the TV and watch what happened in the game. I'm
Yeah.
about what you don't see on the sidelines, the stuff that they cut in from a commercial break and show the duck for 5 seconds. Well, I'm holding my camera on the duck for about 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. And we have a lot of fun with it. Loved it. That Friday night, I'm trying to think. I think it was a yellow out because Michigan State was coming in green, and so they wanted to make sure that they were contrasting color, which I thought was smart. And me and the duck we got real close. We got close. We had a good couple moments there on the sideline, and I got one of my favorite videos of all time. Is I just did a little selfie with me and the duck, and I just said, something along the lines of, the duck is one of the most beloved mascots in college football. And he took my hat and threw it and rubbed my like nearly lack of hair. And yeah, I know. And it was great. And I love a mascot that plays with the camera, and the duck knows how to do it. Spent a lot of time in front of the band, underrated band at Oregon. Not talked about a lot. You hear a lot of bands around the country. And that one stands out. Loved being on the field for Shout. I've seen Shout down a couple other places. Obviously Oregon is the best one, but that Friday night experience, I'll tell you, stadium was full the whole time. This blowout, fans could have left at any. No, I mean, in Oregon, the following week was their 32-31 win over Ohio State.
Wow.
So I was there just the week before, and I think there was some bubbling up for that. But it was the perfect game for me to be at, because I don't always like to go to games that are the national game of the week. And the reason why is because I want to see a team at a gritty moment. Like, play an average team and let me see how the fans come out. Play an average team and let's see how the energy is. I've been to places where, you should have come next week when LSU is going to be here. I'm like, well, Arkansas is playing here today. It's an SEC team. What's wrong with that? So I want to know what places are going to show up even when the opponent isn't in the top 5. So Oregon is outstandingly one of those that the fan base brings it. I can tell it. I mean, Michigan State's a good team. No disrespect to Michigan State, but I mean, it was a Friday night. It was an off, quirky time to go to a game, and they showed up, and they showed up hard and strong, like it was a Saturday night.
Be excited. Be in the moment. Drink it in.
Yeah.
That's what I love about what you're doing, is all those things, which we need to do more of in our lives anyway.
100%. Slow it down. I mean, of course, half of my life is being on a screen because I'm trying to pump out all this stuff, but I do try to set it down. I just did a lake day yesterday. One of my friends just a little north of here, and do you want to bring your phone on the boat? I'm like, no, I really don't. Put it away. I left it in the boathouse, and we just went out, and it was lovely. Like, you need to detach, and I try to take those moments to video what I want to video, but I try to take those moments to also put my phone in my pocket and just look around. That's where what I was talking about earlier about staying after and just kind of breathing it in, and you want to feel it. It's meditative.
Oh, absolutely. They're like cathedrals, these beautiful stadiums, especially the ones with a lot of history and architecture.
Yeah, I'm heartbroken about one that was just torn down. That was part of my growing up. I'm a big Wisconsin fan, but also a big Northwestern fan. And because I grew up closer to Evanston than I did Madison. And they tore down Old Ryan Field, which I've been going to games there since '94. Have memories of there as a kid. We used to take the train down and from Kenosha, Wisconsin, down to Evanston, and just hop off, and there you are at Ryan Field. And what a great experience. They always said Ryan Field was a dump, and it was a little bit, But you talk about a place that was steeped in history and they're beautiful. I mean, it was like the classic college stadium, like the arches, and my logo is literally based off of the old Ryan Field, the way it looked. It's the arches, the everything. There are two towers that were built up there and beautiful. They tore it down. They have this incredible stadium. I'm looking so forward to being a part of this new experience, but I'll always have a piece in my heart in that stadium. So when you talk about cathedrals and you talk about places like that, I really admire those places that have found a way to just upgrade. Camp Randall Stadium is a great example. They've kept the you can see what it is and what it was. Still iconic, even though they've changed and updated.
And we as Oregon fans are so lucky to be in the Big Ten that has all that rich history, all those great traditions.
Yeah.
And we're just discovering them. Like, first time we were a part of Jump Around, Dan Lanning incorporated in the preparation for the game. He compared it to Pavlov's dogs. And in the fourth quarter, when you hear that sound,
yep,
that means it's time to amp it up.
It is energetic. And I was actually at the first Jump Around that ever existed.
Whoa.
October 10, 1998, Drew Brees came in with his Purdue Boilermakers. And it was a wild game, and they played Jump Around, and Wisconsin fans are very witty and very creative and very off the cuff, and things just happen there that are kind of surprising. Some things that have been a little salacious have been encouraged not to be done, but it's a fun place, and that's one of my favorite traditions at Wisconsin that doesn't get a lot of credit. Is the fifth quarter. Afterwards, for a half hour, the band stays and everyone stays and dances for 30 minutes in the stands, different polkas and different things. And that used to be the number one tradition until Jump Around came along. But I still like to hang out for the fifth quarter every once in a while. It's still an epic tradition that's hanging on.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't get that one on TV.
Nope. That's exactly my point. Is there things like that you just don't know about or don't? So I always try to find those little quirky ones and highlight them.
Well, I love that you bonded with the duck, because in our family, my grandkids who don't care at all about college football love the duck. And he's just so funny.
I know.
He's got for a mascot that never says anything ever, he has so much personality.
Well, that tells you something about the people that they find to fill that costume. I mean, you gotta, I would love to see the recruitment process for that. I mean, how do you apply for that and the auditions, if you will? That must be something.
Man, that's a mini series, The Making of the Duck, hosted by Andrew and Dale Bliss.
Yeah, how about it? They actually did have a series on Making of Bucky Badger, and it's also very similar because Bucky has a lot of quirky. He does a lot of things like that too. And of course, we're a hockey school, so Bucky needs to know how to skate.
Yeah,
which makes it fun too. So, there's a couple out there about the making of mascots. They really should do one for the duck. I mean, that would be absolutely fascinating.
Oh man, I love it. So when you're going back to when you were out here, because enough about you, let's talk about me.
Absolutely.
How do you like me so far?
Right.
Or something like that. Anyway, so when you were out there, did you do the river walk?
Yes, and documented the whole thing. So I actually did we started at the beginning of the Willamette River. You see, I pronounced that right?
You did.
Yeah. I was so scared to say it wrong.
I was so scared to say your name wrong.
Oh, it's okay. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Do not sweat that. I do not care. It's fine. But when I took my video, I just said the river because I was so scared I was going to mess it up and screw up my whole shot. So I just said, fans cross the river. So we started at the beginning of the bridge. And first of all, we did the walk ourselves, just ourselves, because I want to experience it, right? Then we walked back and said, okay, now that we know what the path is and what it looks like, let's video it. So we started taking the fans coming up and curling onto the bridge. I was on the bridge, talked about the kind of rite of passage of, if you will, of this moment as you walk towards the stadium, and then took a video from the beginning and walked with the fans all the way up to you see the stadium. And then I fast sped it up and gave you kind of a feel for it. So I'll just send you the link to it so you can get a sense of it. So I
love
got
that.
that. Most of my stuff comes out on X first, Instagram kind of second, and then way later, I'm building a bunch of episodes when this is all done for YouTube, which is going to have 3-minute episodes since I started, of every place walking you through every game day. So that's going to come when I'm done. I was doing it for a while, and then I was like, okay, this is overwhelming. I can't do all 3 at once. Then I thought, what'd be fun? Let's make that. When I'm done, let's do a history. Let's just blast them all out, and have fun with it. So a little detour. See how I turned it back to me again? Sorry.
I love it.
But no, that was, I loved the colors coming down the whole path, and everybody just feeling it, and the conversations, and that's a place, that's a tradition that, those are the kind of traditions I like to follow the most. So yeah, of course I covered Shout. Yeah, of course I covered the Duck, but the walk across the river to the stadium is one of those that you have to do as part of it. If you go to a stadium and just go from kickoff to the final gun, great, you saw and you felt the experience, but you got to experience the traditions that make this place special. This isn't the NFL, where it's cookie cutter. And I'm sorry, it kind of is. I love the NFL, and I respect it for the talent and the history that it has too. But college football is unique in that there are traditions. Every place, what I like to say is, every place has a story. It's your job to go interview the stadium and find out what the story is about.
So this has been a journey full of relationships and connections and experiences. Tell us a little bit about a couple of the relationships that have formed out of this.
Yeah, well, I talked about one earlier about how I got connected with SI through a now good friend of mine at ECU. Another friend of mine, a brilliant writer. He runs another great follow, by the way. It's at Road to CFB. His name is Brett Gibbons. He's doing the same tour as I am. He's at about 60 something. I'm going to mess that up, his number. I'm not sure off the top of my head, but he'll sometimes join me too. We're going to Missouri State together, and we try to find one that we can connect on. He's become a really good friend. Going to his wedding this upcoming June. I know he knows about not having fall weddings quite well. And he's been a great friend of mine. And we talk college football. He does more of the analytic side of things. He's much more what's happening on the field. He's opened my eyes to that a little bit more. I've opened his eyes a little bit more to the traditions. So when we go on the field together, it's quite comprehensive because we can really cover a game hard. We did Buffalo last year together, and that was a lot of fun. We made the best of Buffalo. So that was, it's people like that, you come along who share the journey with you, that are so much fun. And just countless fans that I have in my phone and on my, Twitter, I reach out to when I can. Something big happens for James Madison, I have a friend I'll reach out to and say, hey, good, congratulations, that kind of thing. It's really nice to have those connections and to share college football and to have people appreciate what I'm doing and appreciate what I do for their university. That's the connection that matters. I'm so grateful when athletic directors and even presidents of universities have brought me up to okay, here's a good one, to the best presidents in college football, just without question. Michael Benson at West Virginia. He is outstanding human being. I met him when he was president at Coastal Carolina, and he was so excited about what I was doing. Keep in mind, this is the president of the university.
Yeah.
he invited me, of course, I was already on the field, but then he invited me to come down and meet the commissioner of the Sun Belt. And you got to meet this guy. Come here and talk to him all about, what can I do for you? Can I do this? Can I do that? And brought me up to his president's booth up there. And I told him I got to get back to West Virginia. And he's like, anytime you want, you come here, we'll take care of you. And he didn't have to do that. And I didn't reach out to him at first. He just found out that I was coming and took the time and energy to do that. And he's one of those people who works really hard to connect with the students in the university. He's doing a thing right now where he goes around campus and he highlights one student at West Virginia and what they do. And that's brilliant. Like, that's brilliant. The other one I'm thinking about, his name is Kelly Dampus. He's at Texas State University. Same energy, same kind of person. Brought me up to his president's box, asked what I could do for you. His wife brought us up on the roof of the press box after the game to watch the drone show. We weren't allowed to, but we did. Like that kind of, like, you don't have to do that. Like that's going way above and beyond. Those kind of connections, those kind of people who are so excited and passionate about their university, and so excited about somebody who wants to share that excitement. That's really, really cool. And I've met a lot of great athletic directors I'm looking forward to meeting this year who are, what can I do for you? And so on and so forth. I think that they're seeing that I'm getting to the end of this tour. They're seeing that I'm serious. So I'm getting a lot of wonderful connections on the way too. The connections are outstanding, especially just people who want to share what they're so proud of about where they are at their university.
I love hearing stories of people who have had some success in their life and some prominence and could just act like they're a big deal, but have that human side, relate to people, that
Right.
see people, that recognize, this student and this writer on a quest, and make efforts like that. That is such a beautiful thing.
Those kids at those universities are going to remember that for the rest of their life. You don't know if something like that, as a teacher, I think hard about what I'm going to say and what I'm going to do and what experiences I can give my kids. And I'm going to screw up a ton, but if you can have that moment, it just takes one, that you resonated with someone, especially if you're someone in an authority position, and they feel seen. That's what it is. It's feeling seen. Once you feel seen, then you gain that confidence. It just takes a moment, and you can take that and ride with it.
Not just seen, certainly seen, but also when you feel heard.
Mm-hmm.
We all need to feel heard.
Yep. Without question. I have a saying, listen if you want to be heard. And I know it doesn't quite apply, a little bit. It's kind of the reverse, but it's definitely, that's more of a teachable thing than it is connecting to this, but it does a little bit, because you want to be able to make sure that you are able to absorb what's coming in around you. And it's even more impressive when it comes from an authority figure who's listening to you.
Yeah, the president of the university,
right,
with 20,000 or 30,000 students or whatever it is. That's insane.
Yeah.
No,
go ahead.
I was just going to say, and the duck.
Yeah. I mean, no better connection. I mean, I think, is the duck the president of the university? I think it might be.
In a way, the president of the university doesn't get commercials on ESPN.
There you go. See? Exactly my point.
Yes.
Talk about the true ambassador.
Yeah. I mean, the Ducks this summer went on a tour of Japan. Did you see anything from that? Any clips of it or anything?
No, I didn't. You'll have to, I'm sure I could just search that up.
Oh yeah. I'll send you a link or two.
Please.
But 7, 8 players went, including Dante Moore, the quarterback. And they gave a clinic for Japanese fans. They sampled. They did some of what you're doing. They sampled the culture and the city and the sights and sounds of Tokyo. And they were there for 3 or 4 days. They unveiled 2 billboards in downtown Tokyo with Dante Moore the size of Godzilla, and It was cool. I mean, it was cool. There's a whole video on that tour. It's part of the Under Construction series, and I will send you the link to that. It was just an eye popping, amazing experience, a way of growing college football and growing the Oregon brand, and also providing an incredibly rich culture experience for the players involved, so
Yeah.
they bond closer. I mean, it was amazing, a
Fascinating.
big deal.
Fascinating. I'd be very interested in that. 100%.
Well,
Very cool. Very cool. I love that stuff.
in my thank you note to you, I will send you a copy of the video. It's the first of the Under Construction series. They have Scott Anderson, the Oregon video team, do this amazing cinematic recaps of fall camp and then of each game that the Ducks win. So they're very busy because they win a lot of games, but they are so gifted at telling the story. They weave together, how the team's preparing, what the message is, what they experience, the bonding, the leadership retreat, the defensive linemen going to the ocean for a weekend together. Just lots of different stuff. But the one in particular about Dante Moore, Evan Stewart, DeCorian Moore, Jamari Johnson, Dier Hill, and Jordan Davison going together to Japan as a group to sell the Oregon story and tell the Oregon story and experience another culture. It is magic.
I'm in. Send it along.
Yeah,
I'll definitely in turn send you the river walk that I did too.
I would love it, and I will post it with your permission.
Of course, absolutely.
That'll be incredibly fun. You've already answered this in 5 different ways, but I just like to ask questions to keep you talking.
No, it's okay. I definitely can get on a roll, so please cut me off whenever I'm going.
No, you are on a roll. That's why it's been so enjoyable. But how does this whole experience help you to grow as a writer, and how does it prepare you for the imposing job of capturing all this in a book?
I mean, the writing experience, I get scared that it's going to be a lost art, like a little bit. Not, I'm not trying to be too dramatic here, but I think it's so important to share your experiences, not just with the social media, but just sit down and read and let other people create their own imagery from your words. And I think that's so important. So I'll tell you one thing. I've learned how to become a human thesaurus. There's only so many words for pageantry out there, by the way. I'm trying to write an article about every stadium and trying like, oh my God, okay. Enthusiasm, okay, thesaurus. So yeah, my vocabulary has definitely found new shores. I've learned to organize and to craft in a way that is readable for a culture that has a low attention span. But also just to ensure that I am making certain that I am finding something unique about every university to jot down. I want to make sure every place is unique. Yeah, almost every place has a team walk, and every place has a band and a mascot, but there is something different about every place you go to. And if you can kind of nail that down and at least get that in a sentence somewhere in your article, like that's kind of my goal, is to make sure that I'm not copy pasting from one place to another, because some experiences can feel somewhat similar, but there are differences everywhere you go. So trying to ensure that I'm encapsulating that is key.
So you got to be attentive. You got to hear and feel the place, and you got to reach out and touch those people around you. And
I want to make, everywhere I go, I want to make sure that if a fan of their university comes to anything that I do, social media or whatever, I really care very much about making sure that they walk away feeling proud of their university. A lot of people on social media want to take the time to slam universities because it gets clicks, Oh, have you been to blah 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 stadium? It's terrible because of XYZ. I, okay, well, now if I were a fan of that and now we're hopping on, yeah, you're going to get engagement, but not the kind of engagement you want. And then I just don't. I'm not a fan of that personally. And maybe I don't have the following that some others do, but it's not about that for me, really. It really isn't. It is to a point because I do care about people getting it outreach and having people see what I have to share. But I want mostly people to walk away feeling proud. So that's kind of the biggest goal for me is people are going to know that when I come to your place, I'm going to share the positive stuff. And I do get the question, what's the worst university? I get that question a lot, and I have answers for that. And I have places that are less grandeur than others, but I always come back and I say, however, here's the thing you need to go to when you're there. Yeah, this place didn't have great attendance, and this place was difficult to get to, and this place, was kind of lackluster in this or outdated facility or whatever. But when you're there, you got to see this, So I make sure that there's some nugget there. I try to be real, but I try to not just dump mud on a place.
You spoke earlier about hitting the wall about 3 or 4 years in. What was a wall like, and how did you bust through it?
Hitting the wall. I'm sorry. Can you remind me? Did I say that?
You did.
I did. I hit a wall. Okay.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, I'll definitely say this. There are times I'm like, I feel like the tour is running me and I'm not running it anymore.
Mm.
I'm going to places that I never thought I'd go, that I know I'll never, very unlikely return to again.
Mm-hmm.
Places that are very difficult to get to. And I live in Chicago. I'm 15 minutes from O'Hare Airport, one of the busiest, biggest in the world. And there are still places I have to take 2 flights to get to and then drive 2 hours. It's exhausting. And then to come back on a Sunday and then be bright and cheery for 5th graders.
How many 5th graders?
I have 22 in my class this year, but I teach in a junior high kind of model. So throughout the course of the day, I see almost 70. So I definitely am dealing with a wealth of needs. So it can be tough. But again, not about me. Sorry. But I try to detach, and I when I'm there, I'm in a different place, and that's great. And it kind of leans into when I'm done with this, I'm never going to be done. It's never really a done. So my plan is to finish next year. I have a big celebration planned. Anybody who's ever come with me on a trip, and I have a lot of friends who love to join me because they're like, "Oh, you're going to this city? I'll go with you. Let's go." I might not go to the game, or I might do, but I'll meet you afterwards. So we do that.
Yeah.
And so anybody who's ever come on a game with me is going to come with me, is going to get an invitation to the last game that I'm going to, and the last stadium, I should say, not the last game. After that, I have a multitude of different ideas. I mean, I don't even know where to begin. I've thought about, I'm answering your question with a question. You said, did you hit a wall? And now I'm telling you how I'm breaking through it.
Okay, good.
I'm excited about the after, because I see potential of different opportunities. I've been thinking about doing the top 20 rivalries, in my opinion. Like I've been to Michigan, I've been to Ohio State, but I haven't been to Michigan, Ohio State. Been to Alabama, been to Auburn, but I haven't been to Alabama, Auburn. So maybe doing that kind of thing. I've definitely thought about returning to some of my favorites, because I've been putting so many on the back burner because I'm trying to finish this tour. There are places that have built new stadiums, and I want to go see those. Of course, I still count it as having been there, but I love to see the updates. So relive traditions that, oh my gosh, it was so exciting. I want to do that again. So those are things I definitely want to do. And, I'd love to, in retirement, because I'm done with teaching in 8 years, I would love to be able to broadcast, do this, do this. I want to do this and just talk about it and share it. I'd love it. It'd be great.
Well, you've got a great foundation for that because you absorbed all these experiences, all these people, all the rich color and pageantry. There's that word again.
Yeah.
that college football has to offer. You know, you could be a Paul Feinbaum of positivity about college football and why we love it. And I love that poster board of touchstones behind you. I assume that those are ticket stubs.
They're media passes.
Oh wow!
They're all at the very top is my Oregon one. I can't if I lift it up. Very top corner.
All right.
Oregon up there. Yeah, they're all my field passes, and I couldn't even fit them all on that board. I have to get a bigger board. That's a tapestry. Here's another one too. I have a T-shirt for everywhere I go. So
yeah,
they're all underneath the guest bed in one of the guest rooms in the house, and just gonna make a big old quilt when we're all done, I guess.
That's fabulous.
Yeah,
that is fabulous.
Yeah,
well, we're just getting started here, so it gets a little rough at times, and I mess up a lot, and I ask questions I wish I phrased better. But I've had a couple of guests that you might enjoy hearing whatever part of their stories came out here. Okay. Brian Libby is a guy who has written 2 books about Oregon football, and he's a Portland author. He's written books about architecture. Brilliant guy. And we did a 55-minute episode today, or not today, this month. And wow, he was just a really dynamic and interesting guy. There might be some points of connection there. The other one is I had a conversation with Ken Go, who was a staff writer for the Oregonian covering sports and Olympic sports for 44 years.
Wow.
And Ken has many remarkable stories, including one that's incredibly touching. So if you take a couple of minutes, if you get time, I think they might have something to tell you or something that might inspire you to some degree.
I jotted their names down.
Well, I jotted Mr. Givens down because I want to have him as a guest soon.
He's lovely. He's lovely. He's a good talk.
Well, you are a good talk. This has been an incredibly fun conversation, and I would be delighted to have you back many times.
Thank you. I'm truly honored. I'm always so appreciative of anyone who wants to take the time to hear me blab on. Yeah, it's gonna be a busy season. I don't do a ton of podcasts during the fall. Sometimes I'm able to sneak them in, but it's fun to be able to, like December, I get a lot of requests, and January when things are kind of done and things are quieter, and then I can reflect on the season past and the season to come in. And but yeah, I'm happy to hop on. Absolutely. Love it.
Well, you are a friend of the show and someone we want to know and follow in the future. I appreciate you so much, Andrew, and have a great day.
I appreciate you too. Thanks for welcoming me on here. Always appreciate the invitation.